Hey everyone, as you may know, I speedrun Space Station Silicon Valley on Twitch. That's my primary way of playing this game. The YouTube videos that I make are primarily just a side thing. So yeah, speedrunning is my main venture. I do have some speedrunning related videos on this channel, and this is another one. I did recently get the world record in the Silver Evo category, so I'm posting it here with some post-commentary as well. The world record happened on May 7, 2021, and so as of this recording, it is the world record. That may change, and it might change real quick, who knows. So yeah, this is the Silver Evo category, which means that we have to not only beat the game like we do in any percent, but we have to collect enough power cells, those are the purple orbs, collect enough power cells to become Silver Evo. So Evo on the last level, Big Celebration Parade, can be either bronze, silver, or gold, depending on how many power cells you pick up. And as you increase from bronze to silver to gold, you get stronger, faster, just better in every way. So yeah, it's just the way the game rewards you for getting closer and closer to completion. To become Silver Evo, you need to collect 200 power cells. Not 199, not 201. There's no benefits, actually, if you collect more than 200 until you collect all 390, which is when you become Gold Evo. So yeah, 200 is the cutoff there. That's the goal for the game. For Silver Evo category is 200 power cells and then beat the game. The power cells are spread out throughout the levels. It's not just collecting all of the power cells in the first few levels and then beating the game regularly. You know, any percent style, I guess, is what I mean by regular. But the power cells are actually distributed reasonably enough throughout every level that some of the later levels actually have some of the more power cells that you collect. Some early levels you don't collect any power cells. Silver Evo is a category where there's a lot of options for people. There are some power cells that are obviously really fast to get, and so you get those. But then there are other power cells that are a little bit slower, and some that maybe you just don't feel like getting, so you get different ones in different levels. I think you need to collect an average of like 7.2 cells per level or something like that. I forget the math, but it's between 7 and 8. So yeah, there are actually different routes that I use versus other runners. And you know, my route is more modernized, I guess, or it's more modernized to my run. To my liking, I mean. More modernized to my liking. AC has different routes, Cracker Bean used a different route, C# uses a different route, etc., etc. But yeah, generally, as long as you get 200 power cells, it doesn't matter how you do it. The run got off to a little bit of a shaky start. You can see on my splits there. Smashing Start was green, which is... There's not a lot of information you can get from that because there's not a lot of variance in Smashing Start. You can be -1 second or +1 second. When you start getting to be +2 seconds, you usually want to start talking about that being a bad thing. Have a Nice Day was not great. +7 there is almost reset worthy. And you did see for Honeymoon Lagoon here, I did not get to the elevator before it got up. That is what I call the legend cycle. If you play this super fast, you can make it onto the teleporter one elevator cycle early. I don't reset if I miss the legend cycle. It is a 12-second time loss, but my current PB, or my PB at the time of this recording, the one that I'm racing against, actually, it was a PB that I got while I was still de-rusting, or getting back into the swing of Silver Evo. And as a result, I wasn't resetting as much, and I missed 2 cycles of the elevator, so I was actually 25-ish seconds behind where I should have been. And so despite me losing the legend cycle, I still got the normal cycle and saved 12 seconds, actually 13 seconds in this case. So I could have had a better Have a Nice Day +7. I could have had a better Honeymoon Lagoon. Have a Nice Day was bad, but Honeymoon Lagoon I would describe as average, because getting the normal cycle is average. The legend cycle is really hard to get. So I get it maybe like 1 in every 50 attempts or something like that. I don't know. I've gotten it a few times, but it's definitely a rarity. Battery Farm is actually one of the levels where I don't collect any power cells. So this level is identical to an 80% run. Kill the ram, kill the dog, grow the carrots with the ram, and then put the ram in the dog's back, bring it to the next bridge, finish the level. I think this is all explained in maybe my task commentary, I don't know. But you see my splits on the left. There are numbers beside the names of the levels. The numbers outside the brackets are the score value that I'm expecting to have at this point in time. And then the numbers in the brackets are the number of power cells I'm expected to pick up. That's just a reminder for myself, because sometimes I screw up and I forget a cell, or I make a mistake, and as a result it's actually slower for me to go back and get the cell. And sometimes there are cells that you can pick up that you don't really rely on, because it's basically a chance. It's luck whether you get it or not. So you can see on the split below the engine room, Fat Bear Mountain, I have 10 plus 1 in the brackets. And that's because there's the possibility of picking up a power cell, and I'll point it out when I get there. But it's not consistent. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And then I don't want to have to exit my game and go back to the file select screen to find out how many power cells I have. So instead I keep track of it by looking at my score as it grows throughout the run. So really good battery farm and a really good engine room as well there. And now you can see my score is 40,800, which is similar to the 4080 that I have beside the engine room. That's because I leave the last digit out because it's always 0. But yeah, that shows that I'm on track as per my route. So there's a power cell coming up on this next jump. I'm going to go to the left and then go to the right, and there's a power cell in the air right there. You saw me cross by it. That power cell is incredibly inconsistent to pick up. It's 100% chance. Even if you aim yourself at the cell, sometimes you gain way more height during the jump, and so you'll just go over the power cell. And if you work hard to get that cell, then you'll probably just miss out on the other 2 cells, because you need to be going full speed to get to the other 2 cells on the platform that the jump leads to. So there I got a fast dog first cycle, and then after hitting the dog the first time, I also got the dog to reset its cycle faster as well. So I guess I call that like a fast, or it would be an early first cycle, fast second. I don't know how I call it, but something like that. Nailed the cutscene skip and bear skip. I picked up the power cell before this cutscene started, so now I know that I can move towards the exit. And I know more or less where I'm supposed to go. Go here to set up the FBM jump, which I haven't used setup before. That is more consistent for me. It's basically the opposite of what I thought it was. But that was an absolutely amazing Fat Bear Mountain. And as you can see, that's a gold split. I mean, yellow, gold, whatever. We call it gold because that's the fastest I've ever beaten Fat Bear Mountain. And that was actually not even close. That was almost 3 seconds faster than my previous best, which is pretty impressive for a level that's less than 2 minutes long. And I've played that level a lot. So it's not like my previous fastest time was bad. Though we might like to say that. There's the gravity clip, you know, this level, Rocky Hard Place. There's actually a lot of power cells to get that are really convenient. But the gist of it is you do the any percent strats, and then you also wander around grabbing power cells. This jump coming up here is always sketchy, but it always works. Or 99% of the time it works. So you just leave it. There is some movement optimization you can do here by modulating the size of your jump based on whether or not you're holding the analog stick and even what angle you're holding the analog stick at. So that there, I wasn't holding the analog stick, so I did what we call a medium height jump. When you hold the completely forward, you do a large jump, and then there, if you have the analog stick at a certain angle, you can do a small jump, and so that was what you saw 15-ish seconds ago. So yeah, one problem with the Silver Evo category, in my opinion, is that a lot of the run is, or a lot of the differences between any percent and Silver Evo is mostly just wandering around grabbing power cells, which often doesn't require any skill. It's just go in straight lines, pick up the cells. And so it's not necessarily a harder category despite being longer. And the length is often less interesting. It's like adding auto-scrollers onto a game. The auto-scroller isn't very engaging because you can't do it any faster than anybody else can. And so a game that just gets rid of all of the auto-scrollers becomes a much more engaging speedrun. And so that's sort of how I feel about Silver Evo, is that it's a little bit of an any percent category plus some boring stuff added on to the end. And actually, based on my best possible times, my sum of bests, the Silver Evo category is actually more optimized than the any percent category, despite being longer. And that's because it's just an easier to execute category. And so there's less room for error. But it is a main category in this game, and I do want to run all of the categories, and I sort of do them in order. So I did any percent, got the world record in any percent. Now I did Silver Evo, got the world record in Silver Evo, and then I will move on to 99%, the last category, get the world record in that. And any percent's the best category. I don't really know how I feel about 99%, but Silver Evo is definitely not as good as any percent. I'm not sure if 99% is better or worse than Silver Evo. Maybe I'm feeling better about it right now just because I've been playing Silver Evo recently. But we'll see what 99% does. So yeah, there's another example. Instead of just going onto the teleporter, you just sort of circle around, pick up 2 power cells, and then go onto the teleporter. And there's not really a lot of opportunity to go faster or slower there. You just sort of something you have to do. But now you're looking at my splits, and they're all green or gold. And not only are they green, but they're solid green, which means that I'm ahead, but I also gain time. So right now I am way faster. And actually one of the labels towards the bottom says best split times minus 2.5. And what that means is that I am now 2.5 seconds faster than the fastest I've ever reached this point. So if the run were to end right now, I would have PB'd by 2.5 seconds, is what that means. Of course, the run doesn't end now, and so that just sort of signifies that this is the fastest I've ever played up to this point, but it's not necessarily a guarantee that I'm going to PB or even finish the run. I might fail a trick and then just reset. So the best split times is an interesting metric to track, but it's not as important for PBing as just comparing against your PB splits. or even your best possible time, which is the last number at the very bottom. And if you look at my score, we're at 69,450. And the score I'm supposed to be at when I beat Ratomatic is 69,450 according to my splits, so we're good. This trick here is a barrier skip, and you just sort of line yourself up at an angle. There's a very convenient visual cue for that, and bounce over the barrier. So that's the first time I lost time relative to my PB since Honeymoon Lagoon. It's still green, but it's a slightly grayer green, I guess. I don't know how to describe colors, but it's not the same green, which means that I lost a little bit of time, but I am still ahead. Overall, still my best pace ever, and on track. This is on track to be my best Europe for Silver Evo ever. And this is an amazing pace. The only level that has gone bad so far is Have a Nice Day, the second level, where I ended up being +7, which is not great. Sometimes, I'm not sure if that was my fault, I wasn't super paying attention, but a lot of times it just has to do with whether the sheep want to be herded or not. And there's not a lot you can do about that, really. And also, even the sheep that's on the center island that has a set path that you follow, that one can move along its path faster or slower. And that's just random as well. So there's some RNG to that level where you can't be too bitter about losing 7 seconds. But here's a very nice give a dog a bonus. Fox kill setup. We killed 5 dogs. We killed 2 foxes in the trophy spawns. That barrier right towards where the spawn point is for you at the start of the level is very useful for beating this level quickly. And a 127 is good. I think that ties my PB. The best I've ever done is a 124. I don't think I've done a 123. AC has done a 122 somehow, and I can't wrap my mind around that. That's insane. But yeah, so there it is. So I lost time relative to my PB, but gained time relative to my best splits ever, which means that that was my fastest Europe by 5 seconds. And we're on pace. My PB at the time of this recording, the one that I'm racing against, as you can see, is a 1:14:21. But my goal is not to PB, my goal is to get the world record. And the world record, while I was doing these runs, is a 1:14:04. So that was like really my goal time, is to beat a 1:14:04. And that's just for the record. Snow Joke is a funny level because it's not an auto-scroller, but it's optimized to the point where you should never be gaining or losing more than 1 second. At least for me. Actually, even like Ice and Easy Does It it's not quite that level because there's a couple of things that can happen to you. Like you might kill a rabbit in a terrible place and have to do 2 jumps to get to the ice platforms here. Me missing that power cell is just that's a mistake that shouldn't happen. And then there's Cliff Clip, which can sometimes fail and cost you 6 seconds. But other than that, you should probably be within 2 seconds of your PB, assuming your PB didn't screw up. But yeah, plus or minus 2 seconds. All of your runs should be plus or minus 2 seconds from each other on this level, unless there's a major screw up. Which, of course, there shouldn't be. And that will vary. I think in any percent it might be different. though probably not. 99% this level is a mess because of the walruses. You have to kill all 3 walruses to spawn the level trophy. And those walruses are just a disaster to fight, at least from my recollection. I haven't done 99% in a while, but you can't rely on them to be anywhere consistent, and for that fight to go consistently at all. Yeah, this is an example of a level where the power cells are just really conveniently placed. So you can see I'm collecting 14 of them. There's only one power cell that's a little bit out of the way. I didn't do a lot of route optimization for Silver Evo. Like, I have my own route, but all of the power cells that I'm collecting are ones that were identified by either Cracker Bean or AC as the optimal power cells. And some of them are less optimal. Like, maybe they didn't look at 200 power cells exactly, but they looked at maybe 210 or 220 power cells that were identified as among the fastest, and then you just sort of select from those 220. So there's a few that I pick up that are not there for AC or Cracker Bean. But during their optimization, they found that if picking up a power cell costs more time, or costs more than 4 seconds, relative to just doing the any percent route, then that power cell is too slow. So there are some power cells that look like they're, you know, pretty reasonable to get. Why don't I pick that one up and skip a different one? It's because the power cells are that easy to pick up. It's just a 4-second gap. It's to the point where that power cell that I got while sliding down the slope, or near where the slope was, I guess I skipped the slope, but the power cell that was on the left of where the downward slope is in this level, that's a power cell that I pick up, but AC doesn't. And the reason why AC doesn't pick it up is because the time it takes to fall down to the other power cell that you have to collect, he's deemed that too slow. And it's faster to slide down the slope because that moves you downward faster so you can pick up the other power cell. So that power cell he's deemed too slow to pick up, despite it being, you know, basically exactly on the route. That was an amazing penguin playpen, by the way. Almost to gold. And the run continues to be great at this point. Ice and Easy does it. I pointed out the one error that I think I made, which is where I failed to grab that power cell before jumping away from it when I was climbing up the ice shards. There's a power cell behind me on another platform that's just a little bit lower down. That's a power cell that AC picked up in AC's PB, but I've decided is too slow for myself, right? And so there's maybe just disagreement. I don't know if it's disagreement or just personal preference, probably, as to which power cells you want to pick up. I picked up the one in Penguin Playpen. AC didn't. I don't really remember what Cracker Bean did. This is one where I've decided it's too slow and AC decided it's fine. So yeah, this is a category that you do sort of have to come up with your own ideas for it. Of the ideas that are available, I guess. You have to pick the route that you prefer. And you may have to optimize on the fly because you might collect an extra power cell by luck, or because you screwed up and therefore it became convenient for you to pick up another power cell. Or maybe you screwed up somewhere or forgot a power cell and had to go back. And had to collect an extra one somewhere. So Pinball Blizzard, another heavily RNG-based level, you do have to kill the King Penguin and do a good job of that, which I did during this run. But then you have this piano pattern, and there are 6 piano patterns. They're all different. Some of them are slower, some of them are faster. This is the pattern that I call the climb, and it is very fast. It's the fastest one because you're never flying more than 2 keys to get to the next note. And the farthest distance you go is only on the last note, so you only have to fly that distance once. I think there's about a 9-second difference between the fastest pattern and the slowest one. And my PB got the slowest pattern or screwed up some other way, so that's why there's 9 seconds of possible time save. I actually saved more than that. That was a gold. So this run is just crazy at this point. I am 12 seconds ahead of my fastest time ever. On an average run, I would be about, maybe 10 seconds ahead of my PB now, and 20 seconds behind my best pace ever, something like that. So this run it's just been insane at this point. 2 gold splits so far, Fat Bear Mountain and Pinball Blizzard, with Fat Bear Mountain being very significant because that is a hard level, Fat Bear Mountain. So getting a gold split there is really good for a run. Not really a lot to say for Hoppa Choppa. I mean, a lot of the power cells are very conveniently placed, and it does actually add a little bit of a dimension of skill. So there, you see I didn't pick up the power cell. It looked like because the Husky got in the way, so I bounced off the Husky instead of picking up the power cell, but I'm not sure that that was the case. A little bit of a time loss there, though. So there's a lot of stuff that you should optimize for this level. The strategy for this Husky is to drop bombs towards its backside so that it will run and get stuck in this trench, and then you can kill it from there. That's not necessarily the fastest way to do it, but the fastest way to do it is very inconsistent. And that way is barely slower. So that's just a consistent method that is slightly slower is much better than a highly inconsistent method that's only marginally faster. So this actually looked like a pretty decent Hoppa Choppa. There was a couple of mistakes that I saw, one of which I pointed out. So I think I'm going to lose time again because Hoppa Choppa is a hard level. And I didn't get the fast fall there, which is unfortunate, but overall it's fine. Okay, I only lost a little bit of time relative to PB. But yeah, Hoppa Choppa is a really fun level because of the degree to which it can be optimized. There's a high skill ceiling for that one. And on we go. You'll notice my score right now is 110,100 before I pick up this thing. Whereas the score on my split says 111,000, or it says 110,20, which means the last series I made it, so that's 110,200 is what my score is supposed to be. That's actually just because there's 100 extra points that my PB, or not my PB, but the run that I used to get that number, it just had an extra animal die somewhere. Possibly in the engine room. Sometimes a rat will die, or maybe it's a sheep, I don't know. Or sometimes in Give a Dog a Bonus, you'll kill an extra animal. So me being 100 points behind is not a sign that I'm off the route, especially because power cells are worth 1,000 points. So if I'm 100 points behind or 100 points ahead of what my splits say I should be at, that's not because of the power cells that I missed. It's because of other things. There is a new animal cutscene skip route that is done in any percent. It's not necessarily the fastest. I think it's the fastest, if done properly, to do the next skip route. I'm not sure. And you can probably do it in Silver Evo as well. I chose not to. It would be the same route, where the route is you only beat half of the Arctic up to Penguin Playpen, and then you go beat the jungle and the first level of the desert, then come back to beat the second level of the Arctic, or the second half of the Arctic, I mean. And what that will do, for some reason, is it stops the King Penguin new animal cutscene from appearing, and it stops the Cool Cod new animal cutscene from appearing. I don't know why, but that's what it does, at least in any percent. I would suspect it's the same in Silver Evo, but yeah, I beat the levels in order for this run. If it loses time relative to a knack skip route, it's only going to lose like a second or two. So, it's not a big deal. That was a really good fishy as well. And now, you know, last time I pointed out I was 12.5 seconds ahead of my best pace ever. Now I'm 14 seconds ahead of my best pace ever. So, this run is only getting better at this point. This is a crazy pace. Wall race is the same regardless of what category you're playing. 90%, Silver Evo, Gold Evo, there's no power cells. And the race, there's no changes to the race depending on any other factors. You just have to play the race. The fastest I've ever done wall race is 59 seconds. And that's just the race timer. Also discounting any bonus blocks you might pick up. If you pick up all 3 of the time save bonus boxes, that doesn't really count because that's in-game time, not real time. So you might get below 59 seconds at that point, but you actually didn't beat the race any faster. The game just counted it as faster. This is looking like it's a pretty good one, based on the fact that I passed the green guy where I did. Oh, that bonk there sort of ruined it, though. Maybe this will be a 105. 105. I'm thinking 105. There is stuff to do afterwards. You can pick up this trophy during the cutscene and actually get onto the teleporter before the cutscene ends as well. So your movement during this cutscene is important as well. It's a 106, okay. So just because you get a 105 or a 59-second wall race time doesn't necessarily mean you'll save time. And that was probably an average wall race. Looks like I lost 9, only 10 seconds ahead of my best times ever. So obviously whatever other run I did was faster. Whichever run that was 14 seconds slower beat that level 4 seconds faster. But yeah, japes, you know, here is where I start getting a little bit of an issue, and that's because this boulder is, sometimes it just doesn't move. I don't have issues with it, it's actually fine this run, but I had, at this point, I had lost a few runs to that boulder, just not lifting up, allowing me to go under it. So I was a little bit nervous there because I did lose like a minute in a run. I think earlier the day that I did this run, I lost a run to that boulder, which is not very common, but because it happened recently, I was worried. But I killed both hyenas there. That's the double hyena. If you get there fast enough, then the hyenas are grouped up, and you can kill them both with the same volley of tank shots. But yeah, sometimes if you go there slowly, and you have to kill them each individually. And this time was fast enough, so we're good to go. So this has been a really good japes. I'll probably lose time relative to my PB, but that's just because my PB was almost a gold. You can see the possible time save, which is below my main timer. It says 0.24 seconds, and that's how much time my PB lost relative to my best split ever. So relative to a gold split. So there's not really a lot of time for me to save. And so I did lose, yeah, 0.7 seconds. I was 1 second slower than the fastest I've ever played that. But that just means that was a really good level. So even if I lose time there, it's not a big deal. Doldrums is a level that's mostly fine. We did come up with a new strat recently, maybe within like the past 3 months or something like that, for how to kill the hippo faster. It kind of screwed up there, it looks like. But it's not about killing the hippo faster, it's about pushing it farther while you kill it. Is I think the more critical aspect of that. And I don't know why it works, but it does, so that's fine. The only thing that can happen to you is if the hippo jump screws up. All you can do here is mash R to get the hippo jump. I think I failed it twice in this run. Once. Twice. Yeah, this is no good. You can see my PB, there's, again, if you look at my possible time save, there's 8.67 seconds to save. And that's because my PB had a slow hippo kill because, again, the strat that we use now wasn't there. And it missed the hippo jump once, I think. And so normally it's very easy to save time on this level. Look at my best, or look at my best split times right now. Minus 21, so whatever run was only 10 seconds slower than this run must have died in japes or something. But yeah, here I really should be saving time relative to my PB splits every run. But here I lose time, and that's because I missed hippo jump twice, and that's my second bad level. The first one was Have a Nice Day, which is sort of out of my control. And the first one, or the second one, whatever. One of them was Have a Nice Day, the other one so far was Doldrums, and that one was my fault. It's not, the hippo jump is consistent if you hit the frames, and I missed the frames. Or you can say my mashing was bad or something like that. That was an amazing gorilla kill though. I hate this fight so much because the racing turtle is just a garbage animal that can't kill anything. But that time around I nailed that kill. So this is really good for Swamp. And I didn't take a lot of damage, so I'm at full health here, which you're almost never going to die in Swamp of Eternal Stench after you've killed a gorilla, that is. You might die before you kill a gorilla. But it just gives some peace of mind to be at full health. Nail the hyena kill. Really good Swamp as well. Just an amazing... This run is crazy. 16 seconds faster than best. Now up to 22 seconds faster than my best pace ever. So, yeah. I just don't know. And I'm feeling really good at this point because my PB played Wait For It and Jungle Jumps pretty poorly. So there's... Right now, like you can see, there's 12 seconds of time for me to save relative to gold on my PB. So my PB played this level pretty poorly, so I should be able to save time here pretty easily, and in jumps as well. And it's nice when there's time to save in jungle jumps, because that level, at least it used to be very hard, and it's still difficult, but C# made it quite a bit easier, so... It's not as bad as it was, but it's still, there's still some, you know, residual, some PTSD from when Jungle Jumps was the hardest level and the most varied level in like the entire game almost. Minus Big Celebration. Big Celebration Parade will always be the biggest variance level, I think. But apart from that, it used to be jumps. And it might still be jumps, but it's jumps by a lot less now than it used to be. So yeah, here's another level where the number beside, wait for it, it says 13. I'm picking up 13 power cells in this level, despite it being, you know, even towards the end of the third world of 4 worlds. So we're pretty deep into the game, and we're still reaching levels where we collect 13 power cells. So it's not like the power cells in Silver Evo route are front-loaded. And one thing that's not beside wait for it is the... I don't have brackets beside the 13, but that's because I haven't replaced that number with what my score should be by the end of this level. Because I hadn't written that down yet. And I think I figure out what it is right now. I think it's 140,800, something like that. But yeah, nailed the hump jump, which is important. YOLO fish coming up here. And nailed the YOLO fish. Oh, here it is, 140,900. So I remembered that for this run so that I could update my splits after this run so that it would be there in the future. That was actually good enough to be a gold, so 3 golds so far. Best pace ever by 43 seconds. So not only am I almost an entire minute faster than my PB right now, but I'm 40 seconds faster than I've ever played up to this point. And so, as I said, I'm feeling really good. There's a little bit of nerves with jungle jumps because of key jump, and I have missed key jump. You know, I probably miss key jump maybe 30% of the time, 40% of the time. And that's maybe a 20-second, 30-second time loss. More fighting here as the racing turtle. Garbage animal, garbage fights. A little bit sketched out by that hyena on the right. It is possible to knock the hyena into the lava, and that doesn't kill the hyena. The lava only kills the player character, not enemy animals. So if you knock the hyena into the lava, you actually can't beat the level anymore, because you have to kill all of the hyenas to complete the objective. And if the hyena's in the lava, you can't kill it without dying yourself. So if it fell into the lava, that would have just been a reset. Not a reset of the level. I am, like I said, a minute ahead, so it wouldn't have been a reset of the run, but it would have sucked a lot. A little bit sketched out there, but it was fine. So there's the gorillas killed. Like the key and some more power cells. And now it's time for key jump. So, a little bit nervous here, as I said. But just stay calm, stay calm. Remember my training. And I've actually gotten a lot more confident with moving around that tree, which is a little bit sketchy to me. Kind of scares me. But it's fine. Nailed the key jump. Really good level here. It's not gold. I didn't get double gorilla, and maybe my hyena kills could have been faster. But I'm now minute 11 ahead of my PB, and 46 seconds ahead of best pace ever. And at this point, I'm like very confident in myself. My late game had been really not great recently, but it had been getting better. So I was losing a lot of runs to Jurassic Park, Whirlwind Tour. Not so much Shifting Sands, but Punch Up Pyramid, Big Celebration Parade, those levels, and like particularly Whirlwind Tour and Jurassic Park were bad. Sting in the Tail as well, probably. So a lot of the desert was sketchy, and I lost a lot of runs recently to that, but I've been getting better at that point. So learning from my mistakes anyway and improving. So my PB did play the desert quite well, so I'm like, maybe I won't be a minute ahead towards the end, but I think I'm good enough to hold on, like, for sure. Regardless of what happens, this is like, I feel like I have a 90% chance to PB at this point. And again, I've only had 2 bad levels. The rest of them have been amazing, and only a few of them were mediocre. 2 bad, a few mediocre, and like the rest of them were amazing. So that's the tally so far. Kind of a sloppy shooting gallery, not gonna lie. It's fine, because this is Evo's Escape, and there is a little bit of lag in the shooting gallery, so the sooner you get 12,000 points, the better. But you're not going to lose 10 seconds on this level. You might lose 2 seconds at the most. The goal is to get 12,100 or more points, so I didn't actually even get 12,100 during the shooting gallery. It's a little bit of a shameful display on my part, but yeah, not a big deal. There's just a little bit more lag you have to eat. So yeah. And now it's just a break. 12,100 points. Stare at the roof to reduce lag and hold B to move faster, and wait. Contemplate existence. Think about what it means to be 1 minute 11 seconds ahead of PB this deep into a run. This pace is, it's insane. This is like on track to be the best speedrun of Space Station Silicon Valley ever, of any category. That's what this current pace is. This is like a category killing pace. Because again, there's only 2 levels that have gone wrong, and even some of like the critical levels went right to the point of being a gold. Like, wait for it. Wait for it's maybe not such a critical level, but it can be hard to get a perfect time and wait for it. And I did it in this run, or you know, the best I've ever done anyway. And Fat Bear Mountain as well. Fat Bear Mountain, very difficult level. I had grown accustomed to losing 20 seconds in Fat Bear Mountain just on a regular basis. That's just how it works, because Fat Bear Mountain's a hard level, and my PB played it quite well, so I'm just going to lose 20 seconds. So there it is. Because it was a little bit sloppy and I had to kill some elephants after the shooting gallery, I lost 2 seconds. But here we are in the desert. And even Fun in the Sun, like, I think I've lost runs to every level in the desert. Fun in the Sun, a lot of slop. And I don't really know why. It just happened. So, yeah. Just carrying on. Doing my best not to be sloppy. Failing. Being sloppy. This is like nerves, you know? And there's, again, nerves getting to me. But, yeah, I think that mistake sort of, I think it was good for me mentally. Bad for the run. I wish it didn't happen. But I got over it real quick. You know, there's the point where you make a mistake. It's what happens to you is the question. Do you keep making mistakes? Do you go on tilt and the rest of your run sucks? Or do you rebound and start playing well, and it just sort of fortifies your mental state? But yeah, right now a little bit shook because it's not even a hard level. Fun in the Sun is super easy, super consistent. a mistake like that is pretty inexcusable overall. Almost got crushed by the elevator there. There I was also worried that the other fox was going to push me off just because of where it's at. Sometimes the cycles in that level can be really weird. So yeah, I lost 7 seconds, and there's actually 6 seconds of time for me to save. So that was pretty devastating, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. But it's okay, we're in Hot Cross Buns. Hot Cross Buns is a very difficult level as well. And that's primarily because these kills are quite random. It's hard to kill the foxes consistently, though I did a really good job. It's hard to kill the vulture consistently and fast. And if the vulture hits you twice like it did, then you're at threat of death. That's just how easy it is to die in this level. But it was a reasonable vulture kill and a decent fox kill. Nothing like super high end. But I did get hit twice by the vulture, which means that I am at risk of flat out dying unless I collect energy. The reason why I'm at risk is because I have to blow up 3 speakers using the Desert Fox, and each speaker will damage you. And I have to jump in the water a little bit. So all of those things will damage you, and at that point it's enough to kill you. 1 hit from the vulture is fine. 2 hits means you are dead. Unless you pick up energy. And there's only 1 box of energy. There might be some other energy scattered around, though I can't think of any off the top of my head. But there's only 1 box of energy left. There is a box of energy at the start of the level that I just didn't pick up because it would have been too slow. So, you know, it's acceptable to pick up that on a run that doesn't have a lot riding on it, but this is a world record pace run, and I can't throw the run just so that I beat the game, right? If I beat the game and don't PB, that's worse than dying in Hot Cross Buns, basically. So, but yeah, this energy right here, I didn't get the best bounce there, but as long as it doesn't go into the whirlpool, you're fine. Sometimes it goes into the whirlpool, and you're just sort of, you're done at that point. That's a major time loss. And it's RNG as far as I know. So I just had to, you know, put my trust in the game. And let the power cell go where it did. And it didn't go in a great spot, but it didn't go in a terrible spot. So I was quite content there. And that was a really good Hot Cross Buns. Again, I lost time, but that's just like with Jungle Doldrums, or Jungle Japes, sorry. I only lost time because my PB played amazingly somehow. But that run definitely would have saved time relative to an average split. And so that's, you know, I screwed up big time in front of the sun, but Hot Cross Buns went very well, so I'm feeling quite good. And again, my PB played the desert very well, and so I am not really expecting to be a minute ahead here anymore, especially because I'm only a minute ahead now going to Sting in the Tail. Sting the Tail here, another level. We're late into the game, and we're going to collect 14 power cells, just because they happen to be conveniently spread. This is another level too, where I pick up 14 power cells. I think AC only picks up 12. These 2 power cells that I get right here are not cells that AC gets. But again, that could be because those cells maybe take an average of 4.02 seconds. And the cells that AC gets instead, he thinks might take 4.01 seconds or something like that. It's, you know, the difference is minimal, and it's mostly personal preference. Okay, this is a really weird kill right now. Usually you just butt stomp the dude a bunch of times, but it's a sloppy vulture kill. Not really, I can't say it's sloppy. It's just the vultures sometimes are hard to control. Nailed that jump though. That jump is difficult, jumping across the river and getting that power cell. I think I learned a lesson there where you just have to not try to set it up and just hold forward and jump. Because if you try to set it up, you end up stopping, and somehow that means that you don't jump as far. I don't know why. But it seems to work better when I just don't set it up. So I've stopped trying to set it up. Yeah, so not a great sting in the tail because primarily the vulture kill. Still a minute ahead though, so we're good. Boracic Park now. This is where I start getting worried again because Boracic Park, there's the cutscene skip right at the start. That's critical. You lose a lot of time if you miss it, but I nailed it. So now I'm thinking it's basically in the bag. I'm at Boracic Park, I got the cutscene skip, there's only Whirlwind Tour left to screw me up. And Whirlwind Tour got me down last time, or very recently. I had a run that was not this pace. I'm 40 seconds ahead of my fastest time ever right now. Not just ahead of my PB, but ahead of the fastest I've ever played. 40 seconds faster than that. So Whirlwind Tour got me down in the past, but I'm like, even Whirlwind Tour can't screw me up. And at this point, I'm even contemplating skipping out on AC Camel, which is a strat in Punch Up Pyramid, because that has a risk of soft locking the game. And it would cost you like maybe 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. It's a big time loss anyway. So here, that dinosaur popped up on the right, which means that I can't do the Silver Evo Jurassic jump. So just go around the normal way, and I'm fine with that, because it's less stress. Beating the game normally versus doing it's not a difficult strat, but it's not an easy one either. Just gotta kill the kangaroo. This kangaroo killed me, I think earlier today. Or earlier the day I did the run anyway. And so I picked up that health. And that was actually a really miserable kangaroo kill. And I ate a lot of lag there too, because I killed it in a very laggy spot, and it's impossible to look away from the lag. And then I missed this claw jump, and I'm still not feeling bad, but a little bit of slop there, and not a great Boracic Park overall. At the end of the run, I didn't really know why Boracic Park was so bad, because I got the cutscene skip, so we're pretty good to go then, right? But there's a lot of slop there for sure. So here we are with Whirlwind Tour, and Whirlwind Tour skip fails, and right now I'm just here we go again. I'm gonna lose 2 minutes just trying to do this trick, but I get it second try. Again, not great, but definitely good enough to PB. So having gotten that, I'm now super stoked. And even my PB got it second try, I think. There is 10 seconds of time to save here relative to gold. So not only did I get it second try, but I could still even save time here. I even went out of my way there to grab that little bit of extra health, because sometimes this kangaroo just sort of bodies you and can actually bring you from 100% health to dead. It just sort of depends. And so, it's harder for it to go 100% health down to 0 than it is to go from 95% health down to 0. I wasn't going to risk it. Oh geez, whenever you jump and knock a vulture up like that, you're in for a bad time. But there's a decent recovery, and the vulture died close to the power saw, which is nice. And you can start to see here, if you look at the score, I'm at, 207,850, and my timer says I should be at 2,750. But again, that's just variants from the animals that I killed. So because I had a bad vulture kill and second try Whirlwind Tour skip, I lost time. But still, you know, 40 seconds ahead, 35 seconds ahead of best pace, of my previous best pace ever, going into Shifting Sands. You can spin off of that waterfall, and it can be faster, but it can also kill you, so you really shouldn't. I usually only do it on runs that don't matter anymore because they're not PBs. But it is something that, yeah, it's technically faster, but it can kill you, and it's not really faster. So because I killed the kangaroo in this corner, I make the split decision to pick up this power cell, which normally I skip. And instead I'm going to skip a different power cell, which is the one at the very end of the level, just above the teleporter. And I think that was a good decision. And that extra power cell I picked up is actually one that is a speedrun viable cell. I think AC gets it in his run. But just the way I routed the game, I just decided I'm going to get a different cell instead of that one. So here the vulture can be a jerk by just flying too high and you can't hit it, but it wasn't, so I'm feeling good. But then I missed the swap in, which can happen, but it shouldn't happen. So that's pretty bad. So here we are again. I was worried. Sometimes you miss the swap in because the vulture is in just a terrible spot. Somehow it died really far away from you. And so if you miss it once, you feel like you are at risk of missing it again. So having gotten it second try, I was happy. So yeah, lost time there. That wasn't great. It wasn't great, especially when there was 8 seconds of possible time save. Though some of that 8 seconds of possible time save is because it's possible to kill the vulture in 3 hits, and it just happens randomly. I don't know why, but sometimes the boomerang does double damage. But 5 hits is the maximum, so I got the maximum. And yeah, now I look at the timer and I'm only 38 seconds ahead, which is definitely a lot, but my goal is not to PB. I don't want a 1:14.20. I want a 1:13 something, right? Because the world record was a 1:14.04. And so my current pace is actually only slightly ahead of the world record now. So any thoughts I had of skipping the AC camel strat just went right out of my head. There's a strat there called passive punching where you just sort of stand still and the idle animation for the kangaroo punches, and those punches do damage, and they don't cost your punch energy ability meter. So you just sort of stand still. I got 6 of the 7, which is not great, but it's not bad. Getting all 7 is actually quite common, because usually the kangaroo or the camel will just stand still and spit at you while you punch it. So this is the AC camel. You stand below where the camel is, and then it teleports, hits the ropes, and then you push it just a little bit further out of bounds, and then it goes on the other side of the ropes, and that breaks its AI. So now it doesn't shoot, it doesn't teleport, and it just continuously tries to walk towards the center, which is great because that basically means it's not moving, which means that you can hit it with passive punches. And when it doesn't teleport, the camel's invincible until its teleport animation finishes. So by having it not teleport anymore, you're beating it way faster. Sometimes the kangaroo will turn different directions while it's in its idle animation, and that's why you saw me punch a little bit to the left there and miss. That not because my real punches were missing, that's because I was idling, and the idle animation decided it was going to turn. You can turn or control the kangaroo's direction while it's passive punching by slightly adjusting the analog stick, which will turn the kangaroo but not move it. And that doesn't break it out of its idle animation, but I didn't do that. Or maybe I tried and I just failed. I'm not very good at subtle movements with the analog stick. But yeah, I nailed AC Camel, and my regular camel kill was, you know, good. The regular camel kill is usually pretty consistent, so it's not that big of a deal. And then the super camel is just, did you get AC Camel or not? Most of the, you know, where you're going to gain or lose time on this level is against the kangaroo here. And these first two downs are actually pretty good. So there I'm tanking some hits, but I'm also trying to passive punch. And passive punching the kangaroo is harder because it's a much faster animal, or it moves away faster than the other animals do. But that was an amazing kangaroo kill. So right now I'm thinking this might be a gold punch-up pyramid, because nothing went wrong and the kangaroo fight was great. And there it is. But yeah, you can see my timer's going down now, so it's not a gold. But still really good. So there is... I was trying to do level select glitch, where you change levels and select levels at the same time, which will cause a text glitch that speeds up Big Celebration Parade, and by our timing rules it can save maybe even like 40 seconds. It cuts out Dan's spiel that he does at the end, and we include that in the timer, so by not having it we can go faster by not having it, even though there's no gameplay there. But I failed it, and so that's why you're seeing the normal text. Failing it once is not a big deal, because once you kill the brain, you have to reset the level so that you can skip. You don't have to, but I mean, if you reset the level, you can skip watching the space station crash into Earth. And so instead of resetting the level, you can just exit the level and then try again. If you fail it a second time, that's where it starts costing significant amounts of time, because then you have to do the full exit level, go back into it again, instead of doing nothing. And doing that instead of doing nothing is a lot slower than doing that instead of doing a reset. But yeah, so that's not a big deal here. So you just wait for the second text box, then pause. Instead of doing replay, you do exit, you try again. I failed it again. I even saw the frame, so I just immediately exit again. Not great. This looked like it might be good. And it is. This is called left side escape, and I nailed it. It's faster to go to the left because you spawn on the left, but the way the game is designed, you're probably supposed to go out on the right, because that exit is a lot lower. So yeah, not a great start to Big Celebration Parade, but I'm 46 seconds ahead of PB. You know, I'm still feeling great about PBing here. A little bit nervous because my BCPs haven't been great either. And I just, I don't know what I'm doing. My nerves get the better of me, and I just fail to kill these animals. So there's a flying dog around yet. I also failed to kill the flying fox right at the start. Those animals are critical to having a good time in BCP, because they're just so hard to find otherwise. And it's to the point where I even just go out of my way here to say, screw it, I'm killing the flying fox. Because that's more worth it than... And even here, there's the dog, I'm gonna go kill it. And I did, barely just kill it. So, you know, now I'm back on track. I've killed all the animals I was expecting to kill. But I'm not feeling great because that was sloppy. And I did lose time relative to if I had just killed them when I was supposed to have killed them. It's not actually, especially with Silver Evo, it's not actually that hard to kill them where you're supposed to kill them. It's just nervous, I guess? I don't know, maybe I'm just bad. One or the other. Yeah, so there's 7 mice, but I only killed 5 of them at this point, I think. And then I had to wander over here to kill the last 2, which isn't so bad because there's the health right there. I need some health, so that's good. I'm a little bit out of place for where I'd like to be with the frogs, though, which is just a, you know, luck of where the mice decided to spawn. It's not really my fault, but it is sort of an indication that it's maybe on a slower pace than where it could have been if the animal spawns had been nicer. The dog spawns, though, are by far the most critical animal spawns because the racing dogs can just run away from you forever. And if they spawn in the wrong spot, then they will run away from you forever. So, yeah, you're more trying to pay attention to where the racing dogs are. There I went really far out of my way to grab some health, which is what I always say. Now here, this is terrible. I don't know what I'm doing right now, actually. Is it because I wasn't counting the dogs? There are 7 dogs that spawn, and there's 7 of each animal that spawn, in addition to the ones that are spawned already at the start of the level. So maybe I was confused, but I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, overall this is not a great big celebration parade. This flying fox, though, can really screw you over depending on where it spawns as well. So you really want to focus on killing that one. But here we are, kill that guy, kill that guy. One more fox. And I look over at my time, because I knew that was just a miserable big celebration parade. Terrible. But my lead was so strong that even I couldn't screw it up. I got a 1:14.01. Not the time I was hoping for. Not the time that was promised when I was, you know, a minute 11 ahead coming out of the jungle. But it's still a PB, and more importantly, it's still a world record. Barely a world record by 3 seconds, maybe even less than 3 seconds. I don't even know. But yeah, there it is. And that's what a Silver Evo speedrun looks like. My next goal is 99%. You can watch me do these attempts live, go for PBs and world records towards the end. Anyway, the goal is a world record as I PB. This sort of happens. But yeah, 99% is next, and you can watch that live, twitch.tv/McKill. Or you can just wait to see another video like this for when I get the 99% world record. If I get the 99% world record. And that could be, you know, whenever. But yeah, thanks for watching.